Before we begin, I invite you to gently close your ears and focus on what remains when all external sounds fade away. It's like sitting in a quiet room, and after a while, you notice a subtle ringing or hum beneath the silence. If you listen closely, you'll start to experience this soft, constant presence, something that feels like the very fabric of reality itself. In quantum physics, it's said that everything is connected at the most fundamental level, and that everything we see is just a manifestation of deeper, unseen energy. What you are hearing, or rather feeling, is that same energy, that same field of potential. This subtle ringing is what we call the sound of silence. It's not just an abstract concept or some external force. It's the very essence of you. Everything we discuss in this session, and the ones to come, will be about this sound of silence. It is not something separate or different from you. It is you. This exploration is about realizing that the sound of silence is your own inner being, your most fundamental nature, the stillness from which all life arises. You are that, the very presence behind everything. The concept of understanding things deeply and not just accepting them at face value is emphasized. The narrative speaks to the mechanical nature of certain views, where people often explain their hardships by attributing them to past deeds, suggesting that happiness follows from good deeds and suffering from bad ones. However, the real reason for suffering is not rooted in abstract concepts like karma, but can be attributed to tangible factors that can be observed and understood. A child asking about why bad things are happening to them, like a physical deformity, leads to the realization that science can explain the reason, such as a disease caused by the failure of the parents to give the child a necessary dose during their childhood. The cause is directly linked to the actions, or lack thereof, of the parents, highlighting that many circumstances in life have straightforward explanations. The same logic applies to being born into a particular family. It is simply a consequence of the parents' actions, like their marriage and the home they created. The idea of poverty is similarly explained. If someone is poor, it could be due to their parents being poor, or perhaps their grandparents had wealth that was lost because of wrong actions taken by their parents. If someone wants to be wealthy, need to work hard to earn it. These realities are simple to understand and are rooted in observable factors. For instance, the rising number of crimes or rapes in society cannot be explained away with complex theories. The problems arise from the lack of moral values in society, which should be taught both at school and at home. The education system focuses too much on academic achievement and not enough on instilling moral values, which is a crucial component in reducing societal crimes. The societal structure also plays a role. If law enforcement, including police and courts, did their job with diligence and proper consequences were enforced, many crimes would decrease. The simplicity of these explanations often makes them unappealing to people, as they prefer to believe in more mystical or complex answers. When people go to spiritual leaders seeking solutions, they often ask for something beyond what they already know. They want to hear explanations that provide a deeper meaning or insight, but what they often get are vague, mystical responses. The guru might tell them that their suffering is due to something they did in the past, which is simply an unhelpful response. The reality is that actions have consequences, and it is the individual's karma or actions that lead to their current situation. The concept of karma should not be confused with mystical explanations. It is simply the natural law of cause and effect. If someone is suffering, it is because of their own actions, not because of any external or mystical force. The simplicity of the law of karma is often overlooked because it is so straightforward that it is unappealing to people who prefer complex or abstract explanations. Just like a disease has a clear cause and taking medicine leads to a cure, actions, whether intentional or not, will have consequences. This is how the law of karma works. The broader perspective on karma is that our actions affect not just ourselves, but the world around us. Everything we do, whether directly or indirectly, impacts the world and everyone in it. This is a universal truth that applies to all. On the other hand, the selfish nature of human beings means that most people are focused on their own interests. They only care about their own well-being, whether they succeed, and are concerned about their own happiness, often at the expense of others. People work within a competitive structure where their success is often seen as dependent on the failure of others. If a person wants to do good for the world, they must first expand their vision to see beyond their own needs. Without this broader perspective, even actions that are meant to be good might be motivated by a hidden agenda, where the person is only acting for their own benefit. The true essence of doing good for the world requires a selfless mindset, where the actions taken are not for personal gain but for the benefit of others. This requires a shift in thinking from a self-centered perspective to a more compassionate, outward-focused one. To understand and truly implement positive change, one must broaden their vision, and only then can they truly make a difference without hidden motives.